talking about this, but there's a massive revival going on in the Middle East right now. Thousands of Muslims in Iran are converting to Christianity, as over 50,000 mosques have closed.
Bismillah wal ibni wal ruhil kudus ilahu wahid. Pada video kali ini teman-teman sekalian, mari kita melihat situasi dunia luar. Maksud saya di luar negeri teman-teman sekalian, khususnya ini di Iran ya. Sekarang Iran kan sedang heboh-heboh tuh ya. Tapi kali ini kita akan melihat satu berita yang tentu saja jarang sekali dibahas di media-media di Indonesia. Di mana di Iran ini teman-teman sekalian sebenarnya pernah terjadi yang namanya pemurtadan massal atau murtad massal ya. Kalau pemurtadan berarti ada yang memurtadkan, ini tidak. Tapi mereka lebih memilih untuk pindah agama, masuk ke agama Kristen. Dan lebih hebohnya adalah di mana masjid, ada sekitar 50.000 masjid itu ditutup ya. Dan ya tentu jemaahnya itu menjadi pengikut Yesus Kristus. Nah, seperti apa berita ini? Mari kita langsung saja simak berikut ini.
Talking about this, but there's a massive revival going on in the Middle East right now. Thousands of Muslims in Iran are converting to Christianity, as over 50,000 mosques have closed.
Episode kali ini saya akan menghadirkan berita yang tentu saja akan menggemparkan publik dan mengagetkan kita semua. Bagaimana tidak? Berdasarkan data statistik tahun 2011, penduduk Iran 99,5% masih memeluk agama Islam. Namun dalam perkembangannya sampai hari ini, ternyata ada perubahan yang signifikan. Ada sekitar 6% yang akhirnya pindah ke agama Kristen dan sebagiannya lagi ke agama lain. Bukan hanya sampai di situ Bapak Ibu Saudara sekalian, bahkan Islam yang ada di Iran berdasarkan berita yang nantinya akan kita bahas dan lihat bersama menunjukkan bahwasanya mereka tidak lagi menjalankan ibadah puasa pada bulan Ramadan, tidak lagi giat melakukan sholat dan sebagainya dan sebagainya. Sekali lagi tentu saja ini merupakan berita yang sangat mencengangkan, bahkan menunjukkan bahwasanya pemeluk agama Islam yang ada di negara Iran sampai hari ini itu tinggal sekitar 32%. Nah, sebelum kita lanjut, kita simak dulu video yang satu ini dari David Wood.
According to the Statistical Center of Iran's 2011 General Census, over 99% of the population of the Islamic Republic of Iran is Muslim. Over 99%. And yet, we keep reading comments like this. Ex-Shia Muslim from Iran is here. You can't even imagine the rate of apostasy in Iran. And like this. I left Islam since I was 7. I live in Iran, and I can tell you 80% of us are closet non-Muslims. That massive numbers of Muslims are secretly leaving Islam, and even that there's now a non-Muslim majority in Iran. So, who's right and who's stupid? We don't have to wonder, because the group for analyzing and measuring attitudes in Iran has done the research. Iran's census claims that 99.5% of the population are Muslim, a figure that hides the state's active hostility toward irreligiosity, conversion, and unrecognized religious minorities. Iranians live with an ever-present fear of retribution for speaking against the state. In Iran, one cannot simply call people or knock on doors seeking answers to politically sensitive questions. That's why the anonymity of digital surveys offers an opportunity to capture what Iranians really think about religion. So they conducted a digital survey where the people who were answering questions didn't have to worry about being executed for giving the wrong answer. Our results reveal dramatic changes in Iranian religiosity with an increase in secularization and a diversity of faiths and beliefs. Compared with Iran's 99.5% census figure, we found that only 40% identified as Muslim. Only 40% identified as Muslim. This means that non-Muslims and possibly even ex-Muslims are now the majority in Iran. In contrast with state propaganda that portrays Iran as a Shia nation, only 32% explicitly identified as such, while 5% said they were Sunni Muslim and 3% Sufi Muslim. Another 9% said they were atheists, along with 7% who prefer the label of spirituality. Among the other selected religions, 8% said they were Zoroastrians, which we interpret as a reflection of Persian nationalism and a desire for an alternative to Islam rather than strict adherence to the Zoroastrian faith, while 1.5% said they were Christian. Here we can see the data visually. Shia Muslims have this part of the pie. Sunni Muslims have this part of the pie. Sufi Muslims have this part of the pie. Islam doesn't even get half the pie. Most Iranians, 78%, believe in God, but only 37% believe in life after death, and only 30% believe in heaven and hell. In line with other anthropological research, a quarter of our respondents said they believed in jinns or genies. Around 20% said they did not believe in any of the options, including God. These numbers demonstrate that a general process of secularization known to encourage religious diversity is taking place in Iran. An overwhelming majority, 90%, described themselves as hailing from believing or practicing religious families. Yet 47% reported losing their religion in their lifetime, and 6% said they changed from one religious orientation to another. Younger people reported higher levels of irreligiosity and conversion to Christianity than older respondents. Needless to say, these figures are not good for Islam. A third said they occasionally drank alcohol in a country that legally enforces temperance. Over 60% said they did not perform the obligatory Muslim daily prayers, synchronous with a 2020 state-backed poll in which 60% reported not observing the fast during Ramadan, the majority due to being sick. My goodness, over half the population didn't fast during Ramadan? So, why aren't you guys fasting? Because we're all sick? Sounds like they all came down with a severe case of coronavirus, aka COVID-19. In comparison, in a comprehensive survey conducted in 1975, before the Islamic Revolution, over 80% said they always prayed and observed the fast. That is huge. Before the Islamic Revolution in Iran, before the mullahs took over the government, more than 80% of the population always performed their daily prayers and fasted during Ramadan. Now less than half the population performs their prayers and fasts. So once people saw what an authentic Islamic government looked like, they wanted no part of Islam. So whether it's Shia Islam or Sunni Islam, the vast majority of people do not want to live under an authentic Islamic regime. And the Dawah teams and the keyboard jihadis and Sheikh Yasser Qadi and the Quran and the Hadith and the internet and common sense and reality. Wow, given the rate of Islam's collapse, seems like I'll soon need to find something else to talk about. Small price to pay for getting to watch Islam crumble before our eyes.
Nah, bukan hanya sampai di situ, Bapak Ibu Saudara-saudara sekalian, berita selanjutnya menunjukkan bahwasanya ada sekitar 50.000 masjid yang ada di Iran hari ini akhirnya ditutup. Apa yang saya sampaikan di sini bukanlah berdasarkan pemahaman saya sendiri, tetapi berdasarkan berita yang berikut ini.
Not many people are talking about this, but there's a massive revival going on in the Middle East right now. Thousands of Muslims in Iran are converting to Christianity, as over 50,000 mosques have closed in the region. In an article by All Arab News, they explain why this is taking place. Mohammed Dalabi, who's a senior cleric for the Iranian president Abraham Raisi, first broke the news where he stated that 50,000 out of 75,000 mosques in Iran have closed their doors. Another cleric by the name Mohammed Maybadi explained that the reason for this is that people are upset over the government's attempts to enforce these hijab laws. Marzi Amirzadeh, a female Christian evangelist in Iran, shares that the persecution of its citizens by the Islamic regime in Iran are helping people to see the truth. When they were evangelizing in Iran, they didn't even have one bad experience. Everyone was so thirsty to find the truth, and she could see that God had prepared their hearts even before they had talked to them. It's clear that the hearts of many Muslims are softening towards following Christ. This is just the beginning of the massive revival that's going to sweep over the entire Middle East. I'm very thankful that many Muslims are experiencing true peace and salvation that can only be found.
Nah, jadi itu dia videonya teman-teman ya. Di berbagai sumber juga saya sudah melihat sebelumnya, baik itu di YouTube maupun artikel-artikel di Google. Itu begitu luar biasanya viral kejadian atau kondisi yang ada di Iran saat ini, di mana 50.000 masjid itu sudah ditutup dan begitu banyak orang yang berpindah agama atau murtad, dan ada banyak kiai-kiai yang ada di Iran sana mengklaim bahwa iman umat beragama yang ada di Iran saat ini melemah. Nah teman-teman, ini berita ini jarang dimunculkan ya di Indonesia khususnya, karena para oknum-oknum ustadz itu sibuk mengurusin Alkitab, agama Kristen, bahkan ada kelompok-kelompok intoleran yang masih sibuk itu menutup gereja, melarang orang Kristen beribadah. Tetapi kalau dilakukan itu di Indonesia, kita percaya bahwa di negara-negara lain kekristenan, pengikut Kristus itu akan semakin berkembang. Nah teman-teman, ini runtuh total kalau dikatakan 50.000 masjid ditutup. Itu luar biasa teman-teman. Dan kita percaya juga bahwa bagaimana Allah bekerja di dalam mereka yang memberitakan Injil.
Oke, teman-teman sekalian, itulah yang kita sudah dengarkan bersama ya beritanya. Dan tentu saja teman-teman sekalian, kalian boleh ya untuk mencek kembali berita ini, karena tentu di jurnal-jurnal itu sudah ada ya, seperti misalnya saudara buka di Google ya, cari saja tentang berita mengenai 50.000 masjid gitu ya ditutup, dan juga orang-orang Iran ya lebih memilih untuk masuk ke agama Kristen. Nah teman-teman sekalian, kalau di Indonesia ya justru sebaliknya begitu ya. Jadi ketika ada pembohong-pembohong nih ya pindah ke agama Islam, itu aduh heboh gitu ya, seluruh tanah air itu heboh ya. Padahal teman-teman sekalian, mereka ini pembohong. Mereka mengatakan mereka seorang pendeta, seorang doktor gitu ya, seorang lulusan Vatikan gitu, seorang yang lulusan Haifa Israel gitu. Padahal omong kosong. Ada yang katanya dia S3 pastor gitu ya, tapi pulang-pulang ke Indonesia menjadi pendeta GBI gitu. Lucu kan? Jadi dia sekolah di sekolah tinggi Katolik, tapi begitu selesai dia menjadi seorang pendeta Kristen Protestan. Jadi nggak nyambung. Makanya saya katakan mereka adalah pembohong-pembohong ya. Tetapi itu nama mereka begitu terkenal, begitu viral di tanah air ya. Nah jadi teman-teman sekalian, mari buka mata lebar-lebar ya. Mari kita akan melihat. Ya, saya bawa ketawa teman-teman sekalian. Kita akan lihat dunia luar seperti apa ya. Karena memang kita berkata bahwa akan tiba saatnya semua orang akan bertekuk lutut dan mengakui bahwa Yesus Kristus adalah Tuhan untuk kemuliaan Allah Bapa. Baik teman-teman sekalian, sekian video kali ini. Sampai ketemu di video berikutnya. Tuhan Yesus memberkati kita. Shalom.